And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. And if I'm not mistaken, ladies and gentlemen, with us this morning, it is the one, the only, the myth, the man, the miracle, the legend who lives within our very DNA. Bringing to you, to the WAPJ studios, it's T-Boz. Good morning, sir. Can you hear me, T-Boz? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 T-Boz.
And come on in, everyone. Come on in, everyone. That song by the Outlaws. I don't know what it's about, but I did the most awesome air guitar while you were playing that over here in the class. The people were loving it. Thank you for playing that for me. I love that song, especially the modulation where they go ding, 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 ding. That is awesome. Those of you, I talked about this before, Jock and I are musicians. Modulation means to go from one key to another key within the same song. Okay, that make it simple for those of you who didn't take music theory yet. It is Friday Eve, beautiful autumn weather coming our way. Talk to my friend Jim. If you want to look at leaves and do some peeping, you got to go south towards Woodbury, Southbury, that way. If you go up to Falls Village in Canaan, you're going to see sticks. Come sail away. Wrong sticks, but you're going to see sticks. So if you want to take your significant other and enjoy God's beautiful creation called fall, you got to go a little south. I think where we are in Torrington, it's pretty good. It's probably in the middle, but if you want to see a little more leaves on the trees and sticks, you got to go south. So we have an interesting program today. I think it's going to be fine. It might be a little topical, so I'm going to say this. I haven't said this in years on this program, but come on in, everyone. Come on in, everyone. No, we're just getting started a little early. Come on in. Plenty of seats. Oh, someone has a question. We'll get to you in a second. Okay. When I do this program, I just want people to realize that words of wisdom, moments of meditation, may not be thoughts by WAPJ or even Jock Williams. Okay, so there is a separation here. We're allowed with community radio to speak about God and speak about things, and sometimes on this program we get into a little bit of current events, not much. That's not the purpose of this program. The purpose of this program is to build a better us and to hopefully go out and build a better world. But the thoughts and things said here are not always the view of WAPJ radio, so I just wanted to say that. So everyone is piling in. I want to welcome Benjamin back, and a woman has a question. George, could you get the cordless mic and bring it up to that woman, please, in the back? Go ahead, ma'am. Could you speak up a little bit in the microphone? Okay. All right. Thank you, George. The woman's question is, before I get to your question, I'm all over the place. That song makes me crazy, John. 2 weeks ago, we did a football show, right? And right before airtime, Mrs. Concannon got to me with what George Concannon, his favorite football team, and it's the Green Bay Packers. So sorry, George, I didn't get to that. We are going to be having dinner with you guys tomorrow night at Christie's, so wanted to get that on the air, but he's a Packers fan. Okay, so back to your question. Her question was, why are the two big screens on either side of me are blue with the white lettering rather than a white background and black lettering? It's less glare. It's easy to read. And the two teleprompters that I have up here, they're in sync with what you see behind me for my vision, are also a blue background with white letters, which less glare for my vision, so I'm able to read the quotes and the scripture things and the factual things that I come up with. So, and Benjamin designs all of this. He had some oral surgery, but he's back in action, feeling better, and he's able to man all of this and put things on YouTube. So we thank him for that. So a great question. We're always open to questions here to find out what we do. Speaking of what we do, before we get to Stan the Coffee Man, so hang on there, buddy. Don't go anywhere. We're not going to leave you out. I want to do a shout-out, and here we go. Congratulations to Megan and Jimmy Van Riper. They brought into the world on Sunday, by the grace of God, their third child, Elizabeth Van Riper. And she came into the world happy, and her loving parents are loving her, along with grandparents, which is Diana's sister Judy and her cool husband Rob Van Riper, and Megan's parents, which they are Drew and Dawn Dill. And we even have great-grandparents, Jock, and that is Norma and Marcia. I believe they're on Megan's side, welcoming Elizabeth Ann into the world. And so we congratulate that group. I know Diana is thrilled for her niece. And so the Van Ripers and by way of the Carlsons, which is my wife's maiden name, they're growing. And I met Jimmy and Megan about a year and a half ago, and then at the wedding, and a great couple. And they have an older son, JB, and then their second child, Ava. So congratulations there. All right, let's get over to Stan. Stan, the coffee man. What do we got in the pot, Stan? Dark roast Berkshire blend with a hint of vanilla. Oh, Berkshire, because of the fall leaves. Come up to the Berkshires. Wonderful, Stan. Oh, Stan, Bubba, you're amazing. And what do we have on the table, Stan? Pumpkin pie? There's 4 of them here. Oh, Jack, will you come over here later? We got pumpkin pie with cinnamon and some apple crisp down the end. I didn't see that. Great, great. Who's our sponsor, Stan? Oh, should have known. None other than Twin Colony Diner. They've been here since the 80s. You see them over there by the Glass Gym. They have fish, boys and girls, and it's good. So you're looking to get something to eat, grab a cup of coffee, breakfast, sandwich, go there after church on Sunday. Twin Colony do a great job. Took my friend Keith there. He loved it, and they're our sponsor. All right, let's get to the topic. Kind of little, let's see how we do this, okay? Because I don't rehearse this. Marianne just does the research and says, T-Boz, do this. We're going to talk about complaining. We're going to talk about complaining today. We complain about a lot of things. There's different levels of complaining. The other thing I just want to footnote is if you have a friend that's going through a breakup or a divorce or they lost a spouse or a job or something and they're talking to you a lot, that's not the kind of complaint. That's not the complaining we're talking about today. You need to listen to those people. You need to shoulder them and help them and be there for them. What Jacques and I were talking about off air is we all see ourselves as a well, as a living water, but is our water contaminated, right? What are people hearing from us? So there's different types of complaining. There's people complaining, about their job in a different way than maybe your friend who lost their job, all right? They complain about the spouse, they complain about the kids, they complain about this, they complaining about civic things. They're complaining about the government. They're complaining about the town of Torrington or the town of Fairfield or Bridgeport or New London, wherever you're from, okay? So we complain about a lot of things. I complain, okay? I always say on this program, this is one of the few inspirational programs you're going to listen to where the host admits his faults, all right? And I complain. Ask my friend Barbara. Ask some of my friends. I complain. I get caught in that. All right. But we're going to find today how we can take our complaining and turn it into something positive. The purpose of today's talk, and we're going to highlight some things, current events. It's okay to complain. That means that you don't like something, all right, especially if it's on a local or national level. That's fine. It means you're thinking about something, right? They used to tell us when we were kids, if your parents punish you, that means they love you. If they just let you run wild in the street, then they don't care. So if you care about a topic, or if you care about a cause, or if you care about a group of people, then complaining about it means you have a heart. But there's a great saying, complaining is like being in a rocking chair. You do a lot of movement in the rocking chair, right? But you don't go anywhere. So complaining means that you're upset about something, you're concerned about something, but we got to take it into action. I was talking at 6:30 this morning with Benjamin's mother down in Florida, Catherine, and she thought it was going to come from the attitude of put up or shut up, right? But I said to no, Catherine, through a text, I said it's going to be put up or do up. Put up or get into it or do something or turn your action, your feelings into action. So let's get started with our first quote. We already did a quote, but let's get started with our first quote, and it's by Philippians chapter 2, verse 14, and it says, Do all things without grumbling or dispute. Boom! Right out of the box. And the Scripture really raises us. And I know there's a lot of people who are not believers here. Fine. You could see this as Andy Hardy if you want. I don't care. But be open. This is what Jock and I were talking about. Put your battle garments down. Put your helmet down. Put your metaphoric gun down. And let the words of Scripture and these quotes go into your heart. It says in Scripture, harden not your heart. So if you soften your heart and at least say, okay, let me listen to this. We all, myself included, what do we say on this program? When you're pointing the finger at one, there's three pointing back at you, all right? So do all things, St. Paul tells us, without grumbling and dispute. So all things, and that means, and I love the word all because I highlight it because it says in all things, not just in civic duties, but in job and working with coworkers, family, your elderly mom or dad, your friend, okay? Do all things without grumbling. And what Paul is really telling us without dispute, what he's leading to is get up and do something about it because grumbling gets you nowhere. Avinda Lepines, Lepins, says this: complaining is my strongest weakness. Bing, bang, boom. Complaining is my strongest weakness. Isn't that true? It is a weakness. It's not a virtue, okay? But we all do it, as I said earlier, because it's almost like an itch. It feels good. And sometimes we feel like we're complaining about the law. We're complaining about the government. We're complaining about this. It makes us feel like we did something, like the armchair quarterback. Oh, he should have thrown the ball instead of ran the ball. But you're not on the field. You get on that field with 11 monsters jumping over you, we'll see what you do with the football. Okay? So our strongest weakness, in order to improve, we have to admit our weakness. A Christian like myself, a Catholic Christian that I am, I give all my weaknesses to God because I can't solve the problems on my own. I can't change myself. I ask for the grace, okay? And we might even do a program next week about acceptance. I ask for the grace to help overcome those weaknesses because I'm human. But God has the strength and the spirit within me to overcome that. Okay, that's my belief. All right, whatever your gig is that gets you, then that's what you cling to. But complaining is our strongest weakness. We look at Psalm 13, verse 23 to 24. Search me, O God. Know my heart. Talking about that a lot on the show. Know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. What are you thinking? All right? Know my thoughts. And see if there are any grievances. So search my heart, Lord. Try me. In other words, put me to the head. Put me in situations, right, with other people that think a little differently than me. Try me and see how I fare with that. See if I live up to my quote-unquote Christianity or Judaism or Hindu or Buddhist. There's a nun up at Holy Family Retreat Center where we had our wedding when I go, and she was doing a talk in front of a bunch of people, and this guy stood up and said, I don't believe in this Christianity stuff. I'm a hedonist. She turned to, she's a very small woman, nice, good friend of mine up there. She turned to this gentleman, she said, then be the best hedonist you can be. Boom. See, that's how Sister Marianne, instead of complaining, telling him, oh, what are you doing that for? You should be a Christian, all this other stuff, then be the best hedonist. So I'm saying the same thing here with Psalms. All right? I believe in the one true God. But whatever you believe in, then be the best at that. If you're a naturalist, the cosmos, whatever you're into, be the best at that. Don't be half you-know-what at it. Absorb it and learn it and do it. So try me, O Lord. Put me in situations where I might be tested. Know my thoughts. What am I really thinking? Is my mouth and my head connected? Or do people say, he's a two-faced, says this over here, says that over there, complains about this one, complains about that one, but he does nothing. All right? The great Dale Carnegie, I graduated top of the class with that years ago, says the 3 C's. As soon as you take that class, as soon as you go in there, boys and girls, yes, man, you can go. That's fine. As soon as you take that class, first thing they teach you, 3 C's. Don't criticize, condemn, and complain. And what do we all do? We criticize, condemn, and complain. And don't shake your head. No, we all do it. All right? And what we're going to try to do today is do it less. We're human. We're going to fail. That's okay. You get a new day. You get a new start. All right? That's the beauty part of this, is that you're not done, okay? If you make a mistake, get back up and do it again. But the 3 C's, don't criticize, condemn, and complain. That's what Dale Carnegie, the first class you take there, the first session, boom, he hits you with that. Because he realizes those are our greatest weaknesses, right? We go right back to don't grumble, and it was actually Dale Carnegie sold Bibles at one time, do not grumble and dispute. So in order to change ourselves to be better leaders, workers, assistants, whatever we're going to be, learn not to criticize, condemn, and complain. And where are we with all of that? Okay, we're good. All right, let's keep moving down because we got a lot of ground to cover. Diana Tercey played for UConn women. She was a point guard, and people know I'm not big into sports. Thank you for smartphones. That's how I learn all this stuff and the research in Marianne. And she was with the team from 2000, 2004. She says this, I never, ever complain when I foul. Ever. Boom. You don't want to foul on basketball. You don't want to foul in life. But she never complains. Because what happens is if you get into the complaining of the foul, you're going to miss the next opportunity to get the next shot, right? Or to be able to get to your next person or do the layup shot that you do in basketball. All right? And that's what Diana is telling us, and I do like that name, Diana. What she's telling us is the same thing in life. If you complain about the foul, whatever your foul, metaphorically speaking, is, then you're not going to be able to get the opportunity if they throw the ball to you and whoosh, you get it in and you win the game. We spend too much time, and that's what I'm going to get into in the second half of this program, too much time complaining and not really doing anything about it. The Bible says this. The Bible says. For my southern friends down there, we have people in the South listening. Out of our hearts, our mouths speak. Ooh. Out of our hearts, our mouths speak. So when people hear you, they're hearing the depth of you. You're hearing your heart. Let's take this next week to examine our hearts. Truly examine it. Doc and I talked about truth earlier. Truth is universal, he taught me. Examine your hearts, because out of your mouth, your heart speaks. People will know you and me and Jock and George and Stan and Marianne and Benjamin and the rest of the gang by the words we speak. Words have power. They could either uplift or they could degrade. And what we try to do in this program is to uplift. We have 2 minutes. I'm going to hit this one more quote. You know what? Jock, if you have a minute, why don't we do the sponsors now? And then this way I can roll along with the rest of this.
Thank you very much, T-Boz. We can certainly do that. And we want to encourage each and every one of you to participate in your local award-winning radio station. WAPJ has just been recognized and honored for the best non-commercial radio station in the state of Connecticut. So big shout-outs to John Ramsey, Mike Whitaker, Alicia DeLibero, Chris Canfield, and the whole staff here at WAPJ for keeping this station relevant for now over 25 years. And we want to celebrate that with you all, and we encourage you to participate in your local community radio station. Thursdays, our local and live segment of the Feel Good Show. You can come on, talk about your business, your artistic endeavors, we definitely encourage that. So we want to continue to make the experiment happen, listener-supported, volunteer-operated radio in the heart of downtown Torrington. So thank you for coming along and making this happen. And with that being said, we'll get back to the show with T-Boz for more words of wisdom and moments of meditation.
Thank you, Jack. I want to tell a quick funny story about Joel Benson. Joel Benson does a Tuesday show from 1 until 3, and it's an eclectic mix, mainly jazz, but standards and Judy Garland, Sinatra, then a whole bunch of things, okay? It's a wonderful show. So I called him. I call all the DJs, and I called him to say, Joel, congratulations. You're a big part of winning the award for WAPJ. And he says to me, Boz, it was just me. I did the whole thing myself. They had nothing to do with it. He's a very funny guy. I tell you, I laughed, and he means it in good fun, but he does a great show. Check it out on Tuesdays from 1 until 3. And you hear that humor come through the airwaves when he does his show, and he is a big part of why we got that award. So out of our mouths, our hearts speak. Now, we had last weekend, we had groups of people protesting against an ideal that they don't agree with or something that they want to see done better, and that's their right to protest. That's the United States of America. That's why my father walked across Germany and fought for this great country. And then there's others of you who are Vietnam vets. I know Stan is a veteran, and that's what we fight for. We fight for the freedom of speech. We fight for the freedom to say we don't like things, whether it's about government, the town, whatever. But if you look at what Teddy Roosevelt says, and then I'm going to go on to some others. Teddy Roosevelt says, and so protesting, right? I was involved with Right to Life, protecting the lives of the unborn. I attended rallies for that. I've done that, and we've made some headway there. So we all have a right to go out and speak our mind, right? So that's, in a way, protesting is a form of complaining, right? Okay. But Teddy Roosevelt says this, and this is where I don't agree with put up and shut up. Teddy Roosevelt says this: complaining about a problem without a viable solution is whining. Boom. And so what I hope what comes out of Saturday's activities is that people get energized. Jock and I were talking about this off the air. They get energized for their cause. They get more emotional to their cause. It just doesn't become, people just hanging out and having a Saturday afternoon with coffee. And then they go back to their individual lives, and then they help that cause, okay? And then they get involved in that cause. And if it's a political thing, then make those phone calls. Get the signs for the candidate that you believe in or the ideal that you believe in, all right? Roll up your sleeves. Because like Teddy Roosevelt said, otherwise the people that organize those types of things, the rallies that I went to for Right to Life, if you don't take an action, then those people did those rallies, and it was a waste of time if nothing good comes out of it, if there's no action come out of it. So you could stand for something, but you got to walk for something. And this is what I disagree with Facebook. You see a lot of people complaining, but are those people that are complaining, if we ask them to show up and clean the streets of Torrington or New London or whatever, if we ask them to work in the homeless shelter, if we ask them to help the marginalized, would they volunteer and say yes? Or would they say, I'm busy? So we have a voice in this country. Let's take that freedom, be able to speak our mind, and be able to protest different things, and then rally together and help our cause. Otherwise, you're just leaving the cause on the town green. You've got to take it forward, like Teddy Roosevelt says. So the further insight that I want to pull from that is a lot of people say, well, they should. There's another complaining one, right? They should. I said this many years ago on this program. There is no they. There's no group called they. Years ago, my brother and I, there was a beautiful church I belonged to in Bridgeport, St. Patrick's. Could have been a cathedral. It was designed by the same guy that designed St. Patrick's in New York that Lady Diana and I are going to go see in January, along with the Christmas show and all of that. Okay. And people in the parish complaining, oh, I wish the church was decorated for Christmas. Oh, I wish the church was decorated for Christmas. Sometimes what you got to do is you got to put your hand in your pocket. So my brother and I, when we were in the business together, we put our hand in our pocket. We bought the rolls of garland, the 30 reeds, the bows. We paid our guys, right? We asked them if they wanted to do it. It wasn't mandated, but they wanted to do it. And we got our ladders and everything, and we went in there, and we made that church beautiful with fresh green. We didn't complain and say, oh, they should decorate the church. Sometimes, like I said, what Teddy Roosevelt said about whining, what St. Paul says about grumbling. Sometimes if you want to see something happen, you got to either put your hand in your pocket or get some sweat under your arm and go in there and do it. We didn't wait for someone to raise the money to decorate that place. We did it, and it wasn't from company funds. It was our own money. It was our own money. And I loved that church, and I was happy to do it. And the guys loved it every year. We'd buy them pizza and a couple of beers. Father Maris came to me and said, the church looks beautiful because of Twin Teddies. They're still in business today. So sometimes, boys and girls, you can't say they. There is no group they. Sometimes you got to grab the hammer yourself and put up the wall. Like I said earlier, if you're going to stand for something, you got to walk for something. And that means doing something. Jeff Bezos, who started Amazon, obviously, he says the same thing Teddy Roosevelt says. Challenges. What do you do about challenges? Lean into them. Figure out what to do, because complaining is not a strategy. Bing, bang. Say it with me, everyone in the classroom. Boom. Complaining is not a strategy. So if there's something that really affects your heart, what your mouth is speaking, if there's a cause, a people, or even helping your niece or nephew, whatever it is, then roll up your sleeves and do something. Take that emotion, that complaining, and turn it into positive action. Every one of you in this room and listening is so gifted. You may not believe it, but you are, in different ways. But you're all gifted. You can bring so much to the community, so much to your family life. Again, getting back to WAPJ, we have all different shows here, all different DJs, different ages, different sex, everything in between. But that's what makes the quilt so beautiful, WAPJ. So all of you have the ability to do what Jeff Bezos says. Instead of complaining, it's not a strategy. Lean into it, figure out what you want to do, and go ahead and do something. We look at some of my experiences. I was involved in AmeriCares, right? I was painting houses and fixing houses for people who were poor. I was involved in the Knights of Columbus. I was the largest fundraiser, St. Patrick's. That's another story, another time. Relay for Life. I got involved with that last year with Diana, and a lot of you listening were a big help in raising money for cancer research and all of that. Something I believe in, okay? And so that's what if you have to look for a message today, boys and girls, it's find something besides work and your cell phone and do it. One of the biggest things I was proud of, and the two of the people I think are listening, was the Connecticut affiliate for retinitis pigmentosa. I laughed because I went there to get help, and I ended up becoming president of the affiliate. And two of my very best friends today, they were smart. They could read lips. And after a cup of coffee, I was up at the podium running my big mouth like I am right now. But Connecticut affiliate for retinitis pigmentosa, I believe I was president for 3 years. We had a dance. I'm going to tell this story. Everybody likes stories. It's story time here on Words of Wisdom. So we had a dance. And there was a girl, there was a family there. I'm not going to say the last name, but this girl, she had a brother. I think her name was Teresa. Her brother's name was Rick. And I think Catherine and Keith are nodding their head. And I remember the dance. It was dark, but my vision was good then. I was walking around, and she came up to me and said, Tommy, can we go out in the hall? And I said, sure, Teresa. We went out in the hall. She was crying, bawling. She grabbed my arm. I said, what's the matter? It's a dance. She says, my brother, Rick, is only 20 years old, and he can't see at all. She said, you were able to find Lori because you could see at that time. Keith and Darlene and Catherine and Bill, you guys had more vision at the time when you met. How is my brother ever going to meet somebody? This was her concern. he can't see. How's he going to date or meet? Because I feel so bad for my brother. I love what you guys are doing with this, with the affiliate, but I'm so worried about him. Boys and girls, you could stand in parks all day long and wave signs. That's great. But that ain't going to help this guy. That didn't help this guy, Rick, improve the quality of his life. We could have complained about being blind, Catherine, Keith, and I. There was another woman on the board, Julie's deceased now. We could have complained all day long about this stupid eye thing that we have. But we did the best we could. We rolled up our sleeves. We put into action. We had dances. We had golf tournaments. We had many things. Did we solve the problem of Rick's vision? No. But I hope today with technology and things, because of our efforts, that he's able to improve his quality of life. He may even be married like me. Okay? But this story touches my soul because it really takes, the three of us had a belief that we wanted to make visually impaired people's life better. So we complained about it, but then we did something. Right back to St. Paul, do all things without grumbling and dispute. And, you know, my friend Catherine, I'm going to quote her, she said, you know, this is years ago, she goes, I could easily write a check for this cause, the celiac retinitis pigmentosa. I could write a check. But I'm in here with my sleeves rolled up and doing these meetings and rewriting Tommy's president's messages because he doesn't know how to punctuate and all of that. And Keith was running around. He was our fundraising guy. She said, I could easily write a check. So we could easily write a check. We could easily complain. We could easily sit and cry in our beer, like my father said. But it takes doing to help change the world. So let these things that you're complaining about affect you to move to action. So what can we do about complaining? The great martial arts guy, Alamane Sterling, says this: I never complain about the situation I'm in. I just try to put everything into perspective. Put things into perspective. That's one way to help your desire to complain. You know, my father used to say, if you put all your troubles in a hat, you're going to want yours back. Okay, so put things in perspective. I put my vision in perspective. There are people much more disabled than I am. Okay, I live in a great country where I can live freely, talk freely, go from state to state without having to go through a military thing, right, where guys checking my card and checking my car. Right. So put things in perspective. That's one way to help with complaining. Joyce Myers, a TV evangelist, Christian evangelist, she says, watch out for the joy stealers. Okay? There are people that are going to try to steal your joy. There are people that are going to try to knock down what you believe and what you want to change. All right? The great Katharine Hepburn says, don't complain or explain. If you believe in a cause like the people did on Saturday or like I did with Right to Life, you don't have to explain to them why you're spending 2 hours doing something. If you believe it, you're not complaining, you're moving forward. Like Joyce Meyer says, watch the dream stealers. They're out there. Limit your time with negative people. Okay? We talked about that a long time ago. Eckhart Tolle, okay? And a great renowned spiritual leader and author says, when you complain, you make yourself a victim. Leave the situation, right? So if you're in a situation, we talked about this, if you're in a bad relationship, mainly a lot of times if a woman is in an abusive relationship, leave the situation, change the situation, or accept the situation. So when you get to acceptance, I have retinitis pigmentosa. I have to accept it, okay? I have to accept the fact that I'm never going to drive a car. But there are other things I can do. I can go back to what he says. I'm not a victim of my vision. I can change the situation by getting involved, by square dancing with my beautiful wife and doing this radio program. No, I can't go and build booths at a fair somewhere to help raise money, but I can talk. Well, I'll talk, all right? So change the situation. And leave the situation. We talked about this many times. If you are in a bad relationship or something, you don't have to stay there. I even heard Father Emmanuel say, that women, if you're in a marriage and you're being abused or you're being subject to pain or misery and all of that, the church does not want you to stay in that marriage. Boom. It's a lot of paradigms. Catholic Church does not want you to stay in an abusive relationship. So instead of complaining, change, find help, get a girlfriend, guy friend, your sister, brother, help you get out of that situation. All right? Because otherwise, you go right back to what Teddy Roosevelt said, without a strategy, it's just whining. All right? Lean into the situation, like Jeff Bezos says, and don't make complaining your strongest weakness. We're getting close to the takeaway. And some other ways to get over with complaining is, what are people hearing from you? In other words, have gratitude. Be grateful for what you have, not for what you don't have. Accept, see the better side of things. Draw a line down the middle of the page. Most of you are more blessed than you think you are, okay? And blessings isn't good luck, okay? Blessings is to live in a state of grace, in a state of thankfulness, in a state of gratitude. We look at William Arthur Ward, and this is the last quote before the takeaway, and he says, the pessimist complains, okay, about the wind. The optimist expects the wind to change, and the realist adjusts the sail. Boom. Are we sail adjusters? Are we adjusting the sail? All right? Or are we doing what St. Paul says, don't grumble? Are we asking God or whatever spiritual to search our heart and to try us? Are we complaining about the wind? Are we optimists, thinking the wind's going to change? Or are we a realist and we're going to set the sail? All of you are realists. You can set that sail. You can move that sail. You can correct and change the course of not only your lives, but others. That's the gift of what life is. We're all here for a purpose. My personal belief, not an accident. I always go back to Jeremiah. I knew you before I knit you in the womb. I knew you before I knit you in the womb. Every single one of you, even people like me with low vision, we are here to impact the lives of the people around us. You're not the vice president of a company. You're not a teacher. You're not a landscape designer. You're not a contractor. You're not a DJ. You're none of those things. That's just your earthly label. But your real purpose, the reason why you were brought into this world, is to touch the lives, improve the lives of the people you meet. That's our mission. That's why we're here. That's what it's all about. Look at Saint Francis. He complained that Christmas was getting too commercial in the 1500s. So what did he do? He created the Nativity with living animals. The Nativity we have today under our Christmas trees coming up because some friar way back in the 1500s complained that Christmas was getting too commercial, but he did something about it. So set the sail. All right, here's the takeaway. It's short. I've used this one as part of the program, but I pulled it out of the archives, and I'm using it as the takeaway. Gandhi. Here's his famous quote. Be the change. Boom. Be the change. You, me, Doc across the street, all of you. Be the change. When we die, there's two dates, the day we're born and the day we die. That's not important. What's important is what you do in the dash, that little hyphen. So what's it going to say in your dash, George? Stan, Mary Ann. What's your name, ma'am, in the back? You have the question. June, what's it going to be in your dash? Dave, Sylvia, what's going to be in your dash? Stephen, Lynn, Barbara, Jim, Peggy, Diana, Rob, Elizabeth Ann will fill her dash someday. What's going to be in your dash? Be the change. Have a strategy, not complaining. What is coming out of your heart? Search me, O Lord, if I have grievances so I can change them. St. Paul, do all things without grumbling. and complaining. All right. It is Friday Eve. We have a very cool song. I want to thank you all for coming in today and listening on the radio. George, we'll see you tomorrow night at 6:30, you and your beautiful bride, Alicia. Thank you for everything you did today. Thanks for the microphone. Marianne, I was able to pronounce all the names. Thank you for that. Stan, fabulous for the coffee. Jock, thank you, my brother, for helping me with a vision and for having me on this program. So, want to make way for Derek in the deep track. So, Jock, spin the vinyl.